invite you to stand with us, and we'd like to open the meeting with a word of prayer, and then if you would remain standing for the pledge. Let's bow together. Father, we glorify you. Thank you for this day, for the group of folks gathered here. Thank you for the blessings that we enjoy day by day. Direct us in all that we say and do. In Christ's name, amen. Amen. Join us in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated. We have no public hearing scheduled, no comment from citizens scheduled, and so we will move on to comment from other elected or appointed officials. And I see the judge with us. What do you have anything for us?
We're good right now.
That's
good.
good.
Change it any minute, but right now.
Well, if it changes, you come on back and tell us about it. Okay. I don't. Revenue Commissioner was here earlier. I think he must have slipped on out. So if he comes in, we'll recognize him shortly. Commissioners, you received copies of the minutes from the July 9th meeting. I'll ask if there are any corrections to note in those, or if there are none, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion we approve.
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve. Anybody else have anything to point out? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, those are approved. Under old business, we carried forward consideration of appointment to the South Crenshaw Water Authority Board. There's a vacancy there of a Covington County member, and we have on page 2 paperwork on one applicant that is willing to be considered for that, Sarah Williams. Tommy, that's I think you had reached out to her or had conversation. You have anything you want to share?
Yes. Actually, that was the only interest we did have in it was from Ms. Williams, and she's glad and willing to serve, and I would make a recommendation, a motion that we appoint her to that board.
Okay, so there's a motion to appoint Sarah Williams. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and second. She is a customer of the Crenshaw County Water Authority. I forget, we found out how many there were. Do you remember?
3, I think.
No, it's more than that.
There were not very many. I know it was much less than
120 or something. It's not many.
I think it
Less than
actually
that?
ended up being the last one.
Okay, it's a small
We do
number.
have somebody that works with them that lives in, I see their truck up there, I don't know. But I see the truck there in our yard quite often, so nobody works for them
Okay,
on our side.
so we have a motion and second to appoint Sarah Williams to the Crenshaw County Water Authority. If there's nothing else, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, that is done. We'll get word to her and thank her for her willingness to serve. Let's skip the next one, which I'd like to come back on that when Lynn comes up, that next item under old business, which is consider award of a bid for gravel. If it's okay, we'll handle that shortly. So let's move on to adoption of per diem policy for county employees and elected officials. We'll call on Ms. Karen to give us the rundown on this, and let's consider what's in front of us on pages 6 through 9.
Okay, on what's in front of you, there's actually 2 suggested changes that's been made. C1, we've changed the word shall on the second line to must. And then on line 2, we've added the statement that the authorization should be made prior to travel. And so that was one thing that we wanted to make sure to note. Other than that, we have tried to be fair and try to work with all the departments to make sure that it's something that we don't want to punish anyone for going off and being educated on county government. And so we've tried to work through every scenario, and I think we've got a pretty good run at it. There are different formulas that are used based on what's provided at a conference. If they're providing meals, then that takes into consideration that the length of travel away from the home base, and that kind of information is taken in consideration as well. We did continue with lodging, that we'll just pay the rate of a hotel room, so that it varies so much by conference, by which group. We didn't want anyone to be punished and have to pay any of their lodging. And so we've taken that in consideration, and that's what's before you now.
So generally, this follows the IRS allowances for travel. It has an per diem, which is an IRS established rate. If you go to a conference that provides a dinner, let's say as part of the conference, then we're not going to pay you full per diem for that day. We'll pay you a portion of the per diem because you were given a meal that's part of your conference registration. Those sorts of things were taken into account. Lodging, as she said, is actual expense. And whether you're, there's no meals and incidentals in county. This is only for out-of-county travel. No elected officials or others are provided meals in the county. Y'all had a chance to review it. I know you've looked at it closely, and hope you raised questions if you had any and communicated those back to Ms. Karen or the attorney. But I'll ask if there is a motion to approve this or adopt this policy as presented.
I do have a question,
Okay?
as usual. The only issue I have is the allowance for providing meals with public funds. Looking over this, where we've got to decide if it's 75% or if it's 50% or if it's 25%. That just seems like a lot of extra to me.
Well, it is, but that's the only way we could actually try to take in consideration and follow the guidance. It's going to be a lot of work for our staff to make sure
what
that
I
they
was
get the
thinking.
documentation, and we went over it in depth to make sure that they understood that it was going to be more work. It's not going to be quite so much and there's also variances by what location you're traveling to. So like if you go to Montgomery, it's $59. If you go to Gulf Shores, it's $69. If you go, I think it might be Huntsville, $79. I mean, there's just different rates based on the IRS guidelines. But we were, at one time it was presented to not have any per diem if a meal was covered. Well, that wasn't fair, that if it was just lunch was covered, so we had to figure out a percentage on that. And so it became a lot more in-depth than what we had anticipated to start with.
All right, but there's not a way that you can just say to the person prior, because they've got to have permission, obviously, that this is your travel money for today, this is what you have to spend, and use it. You can eat it all at one time, or you can stop at the store. We don't care.
Well, and then you've got some conferences that were providing all 3 meals, so the
Right.
county was paying money out for whenever there was no expense there to the employees, so we're paying them. At that point, it became where we were paying them more than what it actually cost for them to go. It's difficult.
I think
Yeah.
this probably follows the state fairly closely. I know it does follow IRS guidelines on proportional.
There's no doubt
rates.
about the money amount. I'm sure of it's just having to go through and decide if it's 25% or it's 50% or if it's 75%, just to know if you're going to eat or not. And that just seems awfully complicated to me when you could just say, well, you're going for lunch and this is what we're going to pay.
Right.
And eat it all at one time or don't.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean-
and that's what it was to start with, that it was based on the hours, you had that amount, and then it came in that there was some conference recently that all 3 meals were provided, and so that brought in a new aspect on it. And then you had others that, it became way more complicated than what we had initially thought whenever we were first doing it. And like the state's amount, they allow like 100 or 120 per hotel, so then those people have to make up the difference on
Pay it out
that,
of
so
their
we wanted to
pocket.
make sure that we didn't do that.
Hotel bar.
Right.
I'm with Lena. It's a very complicated process for it to be figured out, but if it's something that does, I guess, go by the IRS guidelines.
That's the problem, IRS.
Yeah.
And it does follow it, so there's no taxable portion of this. You're reimbursing within those guidelines, so there's no tax consequences to the employee. You want the employee to be taken care of if they're traveling on our behalf. We want to take care of them. You don't want them having to come out of pocket for cost.
We got a couple department heads in here. What do y'all think about it?
They reviewed this, actually,
I
so
have received
others,
comments back from 3 different department heads whenever we went
I
over
thought it
it.
was distributed to everybody.
It was distributed to everybody.
It's the same one from the original.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was
from
the
a
same
couple
one,
weeks ago.
and I received 3, actually 3 comments came from the people who are in this room. So
So those were incorporated into it
the
in
changes
some
were made
manner.
after that point.
Yeah.
Well, all but one.
Oh, more comment?
No comments.
I mean, I think Lynn's right. We just get the amount that's going to Montgomery or Mobile or whatever, and that's the amount you have, and then if you go down there, you know how much you can spend and
That's right.
Well, with this, though, if you're gonna leave at 10 o'clock in the morning, you're gonna be reimbursed whatever it is, 60% of the per diem. And so you can calculate what that is. You're not going without an awareness of the amount.
But I read and said that I don't have, I'm not, like if it was a couple hours, you don't get anything.
That's right, it had to be 6 hours away from your base in order to get,
Right. So
but we
if
had,
I go to Evergreen for the safety training, I have to pay for my lunch because it's not 6 hours. I don't think that's fair. I don't. If I'm doing county business outside of this county, the county should pay for my lunch there. That's just my thought.
I'll agree, especially if we see it's something required.
I do too.
Maybe
I
we can
agree with
table it and
that.
talk about it some more, Rich.
I do think it should be tabled, because I see a lot of confusion already just discussing how is it gonna be done. And whenever we're trying to do paperwork, we're trying to do, when we turn in, nobody else has to do anything. We wanna be right on what we do. So I do feel like we need a little more clarification as to, the percentages and stuff like that. I don't think it's gonna be absolutely complicated. I just think it might be worth a meeting for us to discuss so that everybody's on the same page.
Or at least get reimbursed. I can understand the 6 hours, at least if like Stephen was mentioning, you got to be out on county business, just get reimbursed for just taking no ticket like we've always used to do.
Yeah.
I maybe the 6 hours could be just changed or taken out and approve it with that change.
and then we ended up with your department, Lynn, with the ones going to get rock, so that means you're paying for every meal for them if they go out of town to get rock, and it's lunchtime, then you've got to pay all their lunches. So you've got the different consideration on timing, on when the travel can be done, if people are going just during lunch hours so they can go get lunch and things of that
But
nature.
we've
And
done it, like we've had to do it in the past.
right, and
And I understand that, because we're
Right.
going to Birmingham, get rock, and like I said, it's a good 3-hour drive, so they're
right.
out there on the road when they.
Your office requested that we change it so that it wouldn't.
Right, but I understand the,
Right.
I'm gonna make a motion with table and look at it. I seriously am get with the department heads and let's come up with something I think is a little bit
Well-
simpler.
I agree, so I second that.
Okay, well, we've had it for several days, so I would ask that you look at it and let's give the input before the
I
next
have,
meeting.
but if
so
we had a
can
workshop,
adopt
we could
it.
have discussed it prior to now. Thank you.
Yes.
So there isn't a motion to table, but we certainly can delay it. We'll just have it under old business rolling forward. But do take the opportunity to look at it, discuss it, provide the input. The important thing is to make sure that we're in compliance with the regulations the IRS has, so that it doesn't become a taxable reimbursement, for instance. So as you give that input, run it back through Karen so we can run it to the attorney to continue to review it. It's going to be a little bit complicated regardless. Whatever we end up with will be some complication.
Well, we can continue what we are doing right now.
Yeah, well, I don't-
As a flat rate, it's just gonna be, the county be paying out money sometimes.
It's
we're-
excess.
Right.
What we're doing now is giving excess to make sure that we didn't adversely affect an employee.
We don't want to adversely affect them the other way either.
Yeah.
True.
All right, well, you've got a copy of the policy, look at it,
We do.
communicate concerns, questions on it. I know we had circulated it among departments. Maybe you want to call a department workshop.
Okay.
And have further conversation, so everybody's at the table and hears it at one time. All right, we'll move that to the next meeting. Lynn, we'll ask you to come up and let's talk about the gravel bid, Lisa. This was an item under old business that came up at the last meeting. We delayed our action on it until we could get some clarification on it. So what's your recommendation?
recommendation is that we actually get the contractor in Monroeville, which is Stacy, to actually just add to his bid on their bid and just put the stone type, actually the sandstone, which is what the bid actually called out. When we solicited the bids, the section called out strictly sandstone, and it's not the limestone like down in Florilla. We're under an Alabama code section. I want to just read the section for that'll satisfy Stovall or the Mohawk, Section 41-1651 of the Alabama Code. It states that competitive bids for entities subject to this article shall not be required for utility services, the rates for which are fixed by law or regulation in accordance with bidding requirements, purchase of insurance, and when it goes all the way down to purchase of materials of dirt, sand, or gravel by a county governing body from in-county property owners in order to supply a county road or bridge project in which materials will be used. So we don't even have to bid, there's already a law in place that we don't have to bid that.
The ones you get from the stove off.
That's right.
You can just purchase, and so the recommendation is to award the bid, based on the description that he's gonna give, award the bid to the other one.
Yes,
For the
we're
Monroe.
buying material from them
And they-
already.
And they were the Monroeville company was the only
Yes.
other bidder that had
Yes.
every.
Yeah, they met the sandstone
item.
requirement, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. It's,
So-
and it's gravel, it's a river rock, which is the sandstone.
And so if you'll do the administrative part of getting the clarification or the,
But we'll still buy
description
from
Okay.
Mohawk.
Okay.
Like I said, it's already in place, and we can, whatever they charge, we can just get it. There's no need to put out a bid for that.
So is there a motion to award the bid as recommended to the Monroeville company? I'm sorry, I don't have the name of that in front of me. but-
That's
Stacy Construction.
Stacy Construction, yeah.
Yes, I'll make a motion, because I know we come up last time, but we got a clarification on it. And we looked at, like Lynn said, we looked at it this morning, Karen got something that shows where it being an in-county business that we can buy from them without.
Yeah.
And I think it's two different products anyway.
It is. One's limestone, one's sandstone.
All right, so there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions? Clarification. All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, that's approved. Looks like you need some resolutions adopted. You want to describe?
And it's just
what
part of the
those are?
paperwork for our flat bridges. It's for the, let's see, it's the George Lundy Hogfoot and the Connecticut River Church Road over Eden Creek. Those resolutions, we just need for the process of the funds that we're receiving.
All right,
So it's just part of the deal.
So need a motion to adopt the three resolutions related to the flat projects.
I make a motion to adopt.
All right. Is there a
Second.
Motion and second. Again, it's on Connecticut River Church Road, Hogfoot Road, and George Lundy Road, three bridges. We do have a motion and second. Anything else? All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Those resolutions are adopted. We'll get those signed. What else? You want to go ahead and give us a report on stuff while you're there?
Yeah, I just want to go and hand each of the commissioners out one of these. I've kind of come up, and I've already discussed, I think, most of you already, but there's a list per district that I have for the county rebuild. Our transportation plan that we'll be adopting, I believe, next month. And we just need to get those ironed out, exactly what roads those are my suggestions, and not in any particular order. Those are listed on the map right there on that sheet for you. But that's got to be done, though, by the end of next month. So I'll just give you some updates now on what we have going on.
Will we be ready at the next meeting, or do we need to give it a couple
Probably
meetings?
before, definitely the last meeting of next month, yes.
Track that.
Yeah.
All right.
We're starting paving today on the Glen Chambers Road. They started this morning at 7 down there on that road on Glen Chambers today. It'll take them about 2 days, I believe, to maybe get that, the widening and leveling done on that project down there. They will then come to either next week, and it's all weather pending, but we got pop-up showers every day right now. But R Creek and Padgett Road, our 107 project, our county crews have removed the dirt up to literally to the right-of-way line. We got a vertical wall about 10 feet straight down there. We got it based. I met with the curb contractor last Thursday, or Wednesday or Thursday of last week, and they're again doing scheduling and weather. I'm just waiting on those guys to come in, but we've got I believe, just 3 items of work left as far as the county is concerned. We're going to take the rest of the dirt down, and we got to remove the concrete flume out there where we're going to lay the culvert pipe out there on the state right away. The contractor supplying the pipe, we're going to install the pipe and build the drive over the pipe, and then we'll get our erosion control measures up, and that'll be actually the first item of work once we they get their signs up. We'll get the erosion control, but we're looking about 2 days of actual county work out there, then we'll turn it over to the contractor as soon as they get the signs up.
Who
So-
puts the signs up? The state put them up or the?
No, it's the Wiregrass Construction. They're subcontractor. I talked to Michael Hartzog with Wiregrass yesterday, and they're getting lined up to do that. So I'm hoping in another week or so they'll be here to maybe get started on that. Well, they're getting back in the county right now. Like I said, we're doing the Glen Chambers, and then they'll kind of do some fill-in work on Ard and Patchett Road during the mostly on their Fridays, because they generally reserve those for state work, because most state projects are shut down on Fridays. So our signalization, we had ordered some, and I discussed this with Karen this morning. We was getting ready to order some signs, and they told us they were on the state contract bid, but for the ones we ordered, they were not approved. So I need to request just to bid those out. If we bid it out, then we'll be covered under the bid law, because we're already over our $30,000 on our signs already for the year. And I just need to get a request that I'll put those signs out for bid.
Is there a motion to approve requesting bids
I'll make a
on the
motion.
signs?
Is that's the ones like on 70 and Strong School Road and I can't remember, there's another one.
Sasser Crossroad.
Yes, Sassers and actually the one on Sasser actually burned. I don't know what it caught it on fire, but it actually burned last week. So I need to get those up pretty
Why are we
quick.
going with ones that are not on the state bid? Does the state bid just doesn't have an adequate
Well,
signal?
the state are using the ones we ordered. I don't know why they're not on the actual the bid. I would discuss that with the company we used. I don't know if it's just due to the ones we're using on the right of way, but I've been recommended that we use the ones that we're actually putting out to bid. They're more durable sign than ones that we had in the previous that we purchased in the past.
So we had a motion. Did we get a second?
Yeah.
Motion and a second.
All right, appreciate
Any other
that.
questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Request bids.
Okay, our Murray Cross Road, we're processing the final base layer on Cross Road right now. I talked with our local contractor who has the annual bid for our chip seal, and we're looking at doing the Pine Forest Road and the Cross and Murray Road. And the guys we got just a touch of rain yesterday, but I think the rain actually helped us up there yesterday on it. We staked out, we graded out the rest of the center line that needed grading out yesterday. We hubbed it out, and they're processing the base dirt right now. Once we get that process, we'll get it sat back down. I'll go back up there and get the hub set on that. We should be ready pretty close on that crossroad. It'll be ready for actually chip seal.
Okay.
So we got the pipe extensions in yesterday and got all that worked up. So, but that's those, and let's see here. That's really it. We got our fifth order of paint in yesterday. We went and picked up some more paint yesterday, and I'll give an update the first next month on what we gotten done on that as well. So,
Good deal. Thank you, Lynn. Appreciate it.
I appreciate y'all painting Lynn, because I think Miss Lynn Holmes actually went down the road the other day where your guys was painting and the guy was out there cheering for him because it was looking so much
was.
better. So
Although it was a District 2 road.
thank you, Lynn.
She's so districty.
Well, but it was connected to 3, so I was proud, and had it requested, and they did an excellent job. Bush hogged at the same time. It almost looked like a brand new road,
So I had grass.
grass and paint.
All right, the next item on the agenda is consider a nominee for the ACCA Legislative Committee. That's the Association of County Commissions. We have a legislative committee that meets numerous times through the year, setting the priority legislative issues for our association as a whole. And that slot is filled by one of the commissioners. Previous 2 years, I think it's been filled by Tommy McGahey. What are your wishes on that, Commission?
I suggest we keep on that side of the room right this minute. What do you think?
I do.
Okay.
So
I make a motion, we keep them.
Mr. McGahey has asked that he could stay on there.
did.
Yes, you
So
did.
there's a motion second that we nominate or appoint Tommy McGahey. Any others that want to put their name in the hat? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, that's done. Staff reports. Any? Karen, do you have
No, sir.
anything? All right. I think we're approaching the end of the agenda. Anybody else have anything to bring in, commissioners? All minds are clear. Chuck,
Can I just say
you
one-
came back in. Yeah, you weren't here when I,
Say
so,
one thing.
sure.
We got from the state of Alabama, Department of Revenue, we got the railroad and the public utility information yesterday. So I will be giving y'all next meeting what our proposed or our estimated tax collection will be.
Okay. All right. If there's nothing else, we
There
stand
is
in.
something else.
Who, where, what you got? All right.
Yeah. We have been looking at the boilers in the jail to be replaced. And we've gotten bids, quotes. Yeah, we need to move forward on that. We continue to push it down the road, and it's gonna bite us in the butt if we don't get something
Matter
done.
of fact, I'm glad you mentioned that because Kevin got,
Keep going.
Kevin that was right there, had actually got some quotes on some doors for, what building was it, Ms. Karen?
This one.
For the health department.
Health department.
But the health department mentioned they were doing some upgrades, Department of Public Health, and that they may be able to incorporate that in their
Okay.
upgrades, but if not,
Okay.
we do need to proceed with those.
So,
Yeah, so if our quote's still good, I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with getting those replaced.
I don't know if we can do that from a quote or if we have to have bids. Do you know?
It's according to if they're on state bid or if it's under a certain amount, under 100,000, so it's according to what the totals were. I don't
So why don't we
remember right
direct, why don't we direct Kevin to look at that, get the numbers, to get with Karen, and then if we need to make, go for bid, we can do that next meeting, or we can approve it. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. So
But we just need to
we'll-
get it
We'll
moving.
have that on the agenda for the next meeting if there's action required. All right. Anything else? I won't be in too big a hurry. If all minds clear, we stand adjourned. Thank you.